Hello, my name is Reese Everly Lawless, and this is Reese Reacts. For those of you who don't know me, I am an author of gay romance and fantasy, and I'm also a big nerd, which explains this video. I don't just do reaction videos, I do reviews, and since I can't react to movies at the cinema, I thought, what's the best next thing? And so here we are. So this is going to be my non-spoiler review for Thor: Love and Thunder. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It's my first video review, so bear with me. I'm still trying to work out the kinks and like how to do this. So yeah, yeah, just bear with me. So I so I went to watch Thor: Love and Thunder a couple of days ago, and oh my god, you guys, I went with no expectations. I went with some expectations, let me say, because it's a Taika Waititi film, because it's a Thor film after Ragnarok. So I went with some expectations, but I didn't go with some inflated anticipation of what was to happen and how it would change the MCU. So which is a thing that has happened with me with most of the recent movies, Black Widow, Eternals, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange. It's just been. I love all those movies. They're very good, but to me they left something lacking. And I didn't know if it was my preconceived ideas of what should happen or what I expected or wanted to happen. So I went to Thor: Love and Thunder with no expectations in that regard. I tried to avoid any intense spoilery talk or any assumption videos on YouTube and things like that, because I didn't want to have that. And also, I'm not the biggest Thor fan, so it didn't really interest me. All that talk didn't really interest me. I just wanted to watch the movie and enjoy it. I only became a Thor fan after Ragnarok, and actually Ragnarok is one of my top favorite films in of the MCU. So a little bit contradictory, but whatever. So yeah, I went in the cinema with barely any expectations. I just knew it was going to be fun, and we might find out what the plan is for the MCU moving forward. And I think we do, but it's not obvious. So I'll say that. And I don't know if I mentioned already, this is my non-spoiler review. So there will be another video that I will post tomorrow, which is going to be a spoiler review video, and we're going to talk about all the juicy details. But for now, I'm going to be as vague as possible without giving any details away or anything that will spoil the fun and the surprises. There are a few. So let's start with the good. One of the things about Thor: Love and Thunder is the themes that are prevalent in the movie, and some of them are really, really strong and really exciting. Really exciting. One of them actually I thought of yesterday when I was walking my dog. It came to me and I thought, oh wow, what? Yes, that was a theme in the movie, and I wish they'd done more with it. But the first theme that I really enjoyed about this movie was circles, and it feels and I know it sounds random AF, but just hear me out. So in phase 1 and phase 2 of MCU, they were setting up a lot of plots that never went anywhere because they were trying to set up these big battles, and the stakes got higher. The plot became mono. The plot became singular in a way. So a lot of these plots and threads never really went anywhere, and it feels like they're doing that with this movie and Doctor Strange. If you've watched it, I'm not going to say why. I'm gonna talk about it in more detail in my spoiler review, but it feels like things are coming full circle, and they are touching up on some certain elements and plots that we haven't been able to witness because things got too intense with Thanos. So that was one thing that I noticed, and I actually appreciated. The second theme, which is prevalent in this movie, is love, and it's in the title, and it's a major theme, and it explores the power of love and what it can do to someone. And if you've watched Infinity War, if you've watched Endgame, you know what Thor Thor's losses have done to him, and how they've, he took a tumble. He suffers from PTSD. So all of those things are caused because he loved people so much, and he wanted to help people so much, and he's come a long way from where he was in the first movie, where he was just a knob that didn't care about anyone, just wanted to have a good time. So it feels good to explore that side of him, and also to not with just him, but the rest of the cast and the story, and how love can make you do some great things and also some terrible things. So I really appreciated that exploration there, and it was just done so beautifully. And yeah, very beautifully. I can't spoil anything. And then the the other theme, the one that came to me when I was walking my dog, it's about power and what happens to those who wield it. So I think there's no. I think I'm not spoiling anything when I'm saying that. Obviously, in the movie you have Gore, the God Butcher, who basically goes around killing gods, right? And I think they've done such an excellent job with that, or in terms of showing how power can corrupt. So Gore has a thing for the gods, and you find out why. And basically, none of the gods in the MCU, because there are a lot of them, as you will see, they don't really care about their people. They don't really care about helping. All they care about is themselves, basically. Is them is having a good time. They're all basically like Thor was in the first movie, and even the good ones. And I think there was a very apt moment in the movie, in the first half of the movie, where there was an award given for the god that had the most sacrifices to their name. And this is not a spoiler. This is non consequential in the movie, so it's not spoiling anything. And I think that was such. Yeah, obviously they played it a little bit for laughs, but also there's like an underlying theme there. There's an underlying intensity there that there are all these people that have these celestial cosmic powers that can basically destroy or destroy a world, destroy life, or create it, and they waste it on parties, on fun, on themselves, basically. And to me, that speaks, considering the situation around the world with Roe v. Wade in the US, with the situation in the UK and the current government, and all the political bullshit across the world. It just, it's hard not to draw the comparison between the gods of the movie in Thor: Love and Thunder and the MCU in general, and the politicians that run the world, that have so much power and they can actually do so much good, and yet they choose to do more harm. So it is really hard not to relate to Gore. It's really hard because he's got a point. At a certain point, I kind of wanted him to win, in a way, if I'm honest, because he's right. He was right. All gods must die because they have so much power and they do nothing with it. Nothing that benefits humanity and all the humanities across the galaxy, across the universe. Considering the shit situation around the world, I think that was. It was very relevant in the times that we're in. Basically, this movie is very, very, very relevant, and I wish my only wish is that they explored that aspect a little bit more because it's such an interesting topic. But at the end of the day, it is a superhero movie, so I understand why they didn't. Another good thing about the movie is representation. I mean, I did not expect it. I have hoped for it for so long and been let down so much, not just by the MCU, but other franchises, other movies, and I didn't expect it. There's a lot of representation in this movie, and it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. The way it is touched upon, the way it's discussed, the way it is shown. I mean, don't expect any leaps in this movie, but I mean, there are basically, I think, at least 3 queer characters revealed in this movie. So the representation there is just incredible, and it made me so happy. It made me laugh. It made me smile. I'm just so happy. I'm beyond happy. Because I was watching it, and at the end of the movie, thinking, did they really go there? Did they really did did those producers and all those executives allow Taika Waititi to go there? And yeah, he did. He absolutely did. And you know what? Yes, they are not front and center. The romance or lack of romance is not the subject of this movie, and it is not explored. But you know, they are there, and that's what matters. They are shown. They are part of the this world, just like we are in the real world. So you know, I don't think we should have. I don't think every movie has to have a queer character at the front and center of the storyline for it to be about representation. Sometimes it's about being in the room, and in this movie, we are in the room, and we are in an incredible way, and you know, it's just so good, and I can't wait to see what they do with it and if they do more with it, because you know there was this talk about Valkyrie being bisexual in when Thor Ragnarok came out, and absolutely I think Valkyrie is such an incredible character, and you know what, she's such an incredible character, she deserves her own movie. And I hope they don't Black Widow Valkyrie and just make a movie with her when Tessa Thompson is tired and leaves the MCU, or when her character dies, because we deserve a Valkyrie movie because she's freaking awesome, man. She's freaking awesome. Um, and she needs her queen. Stat. She needs her queen. Valkyrie needs her queen. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, so in terms of the cast, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he was incredible as usual in this movie. He was so good, so funny. So he owns the role yet again. You know, he does that. He's been playing Thor for at least a decade, if not longer. So he knows who Thor is, and Taika has allowed him to go to places where other directors haven't, and he's a joy to watch. He dominates the screen. So that part is incredible for me, and I really enjoyed Thor, and I really enjoy the Thor that Taika created since Ragnarok, and I enjoy the character a lot more than I did in the first two movies. Um, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, Dr. Jane Foster, she was so freaking good, man. She was so different to the Jane that we saw in Thor and Thor: The Dark World. She was so good. She buffed up. She's so beautiful as well. She's so pretty, and she's so talented. And she fits into this Taika world very well. She does an incredible job with her character, with her plot, with her storyline. She's really good, and I can't wait to see more of her, because you know there was that fear that or at least I had that fear. I don't know if anyone else had that fear, that the Dr. Jane Foster that we met in the last two movies, she was not. She was just the romantic partner. She was just the damsel in distress most of the time. I know she's a scientist and all that, but it felt like that a lot of the times. And I'm so glad that they let her spread her wings and fly, baby. And she did. She did. And she was incredible. So, yeah, Natalie Portman, please bring her back. Please bring her back. She is incredible. Um, Next character. Well, I've already said my thoughts about Valkyrie, and oh my god. Tessa is just a joy to watch on the screen. She is beautiful. She dominates the screen along with Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman. She's not my friend. I can't just call her Natalie. She is so good. She is even more fun in this movie than she was in Ragnarok. She's even more Valkyrie than she was before. She is just pure joy when she's on the screen. I don't know, man. I didn't remember, for some reason. I didn't remember that they gave her they let her keep her English accent. I think she's English. I'm not entirely sure. So when I was watching, I was like, oh, I really love this, and how how Tessa Thompson is bringing Valkyrie to life in this movie specifically. And you know, after this movie, if they don't give her own solo movie, they're going to be idiots. Honestly, they're going to be idiots. She needs one. She needs time to shine on her own. And Korg, I mean Taika Waititi. You know, Korg is the he's the comic relief in this team, and he's very good. I really love what they did with the character. Certain things they did with the character I really loved. Other things that they did with the character, I wasn't sure why or how, um, but I was willing to let that go because he's such a funny character, and he he brought such freshness to the MCU that I really, really enjoyed it. So I didn't care for the negative stuff. Not the negative. He's not. It's not. There's nothing negative that happens with Korg or to Korg. It's just more of a certain plot line, a certain plot element that didn't make sense to me, and I wish we'd gotten more to explain it. Which I will explore. I will talk about more in the spoiler review. And then we've got Gore. He he's so good with the role. He he's a great actor. I mean, he's a great actor, and even I know that, and I don't really watch that many movies outside of the MCU and other certain specific genres of movies. He's a very talented actor, and he gets such a strong character in this. He brought him to life, uh, and he was really incredible as a villain. However, and I know I'm not discussing the bad stuff yet. I think he didn't have enough time to shine, or it didn't feel like that to me. I wish we could get more of him because he was so freaking good in this role, and all my fears about the character and how he would bring him to life kind of dissipated when I saw him on the screen, and it was just beautiful, beautiful done, a beautiful arc, and the acting was incredible. And as for the direction, Taika Waititi brings it on again, baby. His vision is beautiful, colorful, funny and fun, cinematic, very cinematic, um, and he knows how to bring the vision in his head and make it into reality, and I really appreciate that about him. Um, I do have some complaints about that, but I'm going to discuss it in the next segment. Uh, but yeah, I think Taika needs to keep doing MCU movies and specifically Thor for as long as we can get Thor movies. Or I don't know, maybe he can do Miss Marvel movie or something. He needs to expand his creative juices with the MCU because I think his touch is much needed in certain um, characters with certain people with certain plots. The script was very strong, very strong. It had a lot of soul. It was original. It was touching. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried a few times. Sometimes there were tears of sadness. Sometimes there were tears of joy. But it was just chef's kiss. It was just incredible. The only issue I had with it was that it felt a little bit unbalanced in terms of pacing, especially because we didn't get as much gore as I would have loved to. But other than that, I think Taika Waititi and Jennifer Kate Robinson did a fantastic job with the script, and it felt like they really know the characters. I know that the elements and some of the stuff they used, it's not faithful to the comic books, and I think the MCU has never been that faithful to the comic books. So, but it felt like Taika and Jennifer, they knew the characters that they were writing, they knew the characters from the movies, and they knew them so well that they wrote them effortlessly. So that I really love that. And now for the negatives. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this film, and most of the things that I came out from the cinema were positive. In fact, as soon as I came out of the cinema, I was beaming with happiness because it was such an incredible film. I absolutely adored it. But then, as soon as that joy faded, I could kind of see some of the problems I had with this film. They're not that many, but it may affect your movie-going experience. But to me, you know, they didn't matter. And at the end of the day, they didn't matter because I got an incredible film that made me laugh, that made me cry, that made me smile, and made me feel happy. So, take everything with a pinch of salt. And also, everything is my personal opinion, of course. So you might come out of the movie feeling different than I do, or you might not even notice these things, or notice them and not mind them. So the first negative I found was gore. And not because Christian Bale did anything bad with the role or anything to do with his arc, but mainly because we didn't get to see him as much. He was the villain that kind of triggered everything, put everything into motion, but we didn't get enough of him. I didn't think, or I wish we'd got a lot more god butchering than we did. It felt, and this is not spoilery as well. He did most of his butchering um, behind the scenes, and all we did was just learn about it because a character told us, or characters told us. We didn't actually get to see him in action, aside from when he confronted Thor and everything else. So that was a bit of a letdown for me because he was such an incredible character with such an incredible motivation that I wish we'd seen more of him. And I don't know if there's some of gore left on the cutting room floor. I assume there was, um, but I would really love to see more of him. I would have loved to see more of his butchering days and the brutality of his mission. It would have made for some amazing moments, I think, and it would have made it, I think, a stronger movie because a movie is as strong as its villain. So yeah, but still, like I said, the movie's still good. So I think if they'd done some more work on gore, it would have been an absolutely amazing movie. So yeah, my other negative was Taika Waititi, and I love the guy. I really do. Um, but I feel like they let him loose a little bit too much in this movie. Whereas in Ragnarok, I think it was a lot more concentrated, and there were, the MCU still had its reins on him. So it wasn't um, as funny as this movie was. And don't get me wrong, this was really funny. But at some points, it felt like it was way too funny and way too. It was too the Office. The Office. I've never watched The Office, but I've tried to watch some episodes, and it's just not my type of comedy. And it's very The Office. And for the most movie, actually, it's very the comedy and the vision. Actually, it's not like The Office. It's if you've watched the Marvel Studios short film with Thor that I think was directed by Taika Waititi. I think that's what kind of got him the role on Ragnarok, but I haven't looked it up, and I'm not going to do it now. So if you've watched the short film, the short movie that they did with Chris Hemsworth, living in Australia with a flatmate, with a roommate, and it was very like, very funny, very like, oh gosh, what are the words? What are words? I've forgotten all my words. It's really hard to describe. But basically, if you have watched The Office, it's very like that sometimes, and I think at some point to its detriment. Like there were certain points where the acting sounded like they were performing a play in New Asgard. You know how in Ragnarok, Loki has actors perform the story of Odin's son and Loki, and we got Matt Damon as, I want to say, Thor. Um, so it felt like I was watching that. It felt like I was watching the play rather than a movie. So at some points it felt too fake, the acting too fake, too pretentious, too theatrical, and at other points it was just too funny when it needed to be a little bit more grounded. And I think because of the success of Ragnarok and the success of Taika as a creator, they gave him a lot more freedom, and I think they're doing that a lot more with directors in Phase 4, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, I love Taika Waititi and his vision, and I want him back. But I think he needs to have someone holding him back on certain things, so that his movies are not as, especially the movies in MCU I'm talking about, not his movies in general, not to be so kind of irreverent and um, uh, yeah, I think that's the word for it, irreverent. And after a certain point, it becomes um, so playful that it just loses the gravity that it's supposed to have. So that was my second and my biggest negative, if I'm honest. But again, did it influence my movie going experience? A little bit when I was watching it, but at the same time, I didn't care because it was so much fun. It was so colorful. It was so great to see all these people back in action that it didn't matter at the end of the day. But I think there needs to be some caution there moving forward. Um, the other things, these are very small things, and I promise I'm wrapping this up. I didn't get some of the Korg's plot line, and I wish they'd done a little bit more explanation on how these things work, but I can't really say anything without spoiling, so that's all I'm going to say. Another complaint, Kat Dennings only has a very small, non-existent cameo, and I wanted more of her. She's such a fun character. She's such a great actor that I wanted more of her, and we didn't get enough of her. which felt very disrespectful to the character because she's incredible. She's an incredible human being. Um, Battle scenes. I wish we'd gotten more epic battle scenes. I feel like they kind of like held back a little bit, and especially with the final battle, I think it could have been longer and better and much more, and had a bigger wow factor. It did, but I think they could have gone so much bigger. And they kind of, it felt like they held back. And I don't know if that was influence, that was an influence from the pandemic and how much they could do and not do. But yeah, I wish that they'd done a little bit more with that. And that's those are all my non-spoiler thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder. Um, the only ones I can think of. I'm sure as soon as I finish this video, something else is going to come to me, and I'm gonna be punching myself because but I've got notes, but I don't know. Maybe maybe there's more. Anyway, like I said, it's a fun movie. Please go watch it because it's beautiful and it's so much fun, especially in these times that we're in. We need some fun. We need a laugh. We need to have a good time. And if Thor: Love and Thunder delivers anything, that's the fun. So go and watch it, and please let me know what you thought too down in the comments, and try to be non-spoilery in the comments. We can spoil all you want in my next video, which is going to be the spoiler review. Anyway, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button so I know you want to see more videos like this, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.